Welcome to Gatekeeper Media's coverage of the Preserve Championship powered by Prodigy Disc. This is another DGPT Elite Series event in 2023. We're on our 10th event of the season, Nathan.
Yeah, pretty wild to be 10 events in already. Doesn't seem like it's been going on that long this year. But time flies quickly when you're having fun, and I imagine we're going to have some more fun out here at the Preserve Championship.
Yeah, unquestionably, the fourth year that this has been a DGPT Elite Series. We're back at Cale's place, and we're going to have him on our feature card. Very exciting.
Yeah, along with Simon Lizotte, Cale Klein, and Alden Harris as well. Should be great. And as you see the Disc Golf Pro Tour standings right here, Calvin Heimberg out in front, good 100-point-some lead. See Corey Ellis jumping there almost into the top 10.
Yeah, absolutely. And Alden Harris in the top 20, meaning he would currently qualify for the Pro Tour Championships.
And into the bags, Cale Leiviska keeps it pretty simple. Gonna throw and putt with those PA3s. Gonna see some M4s and a lot of that foul core for his driver.
Simon Lizotte, no stranger to the Gatekeeper Media chase card and feature cards. Putting with the anode, certainly going to throw some hexes, a lot of opportunities for that on this course. And a variety of distance drivers, probably that Delirium and Dimension, going to make some appearances.
And that moves us into Cale Klein, going to putt with that Exo Hard Logic. Going to see a lot of the Origin for the mid-range shot, and then a good mix of drivers with the FD3s, DD3 and Cloud Breakers, and maybe some PD2s as well.
We saw Alden Harris in Portland most recently, putting with the PA3, but a couple other throwing putters in there, M4s and M1s for his mid-ranges, and then a lot of D1s in varying stabilities for his distance shots.
And that will lead us straight into hole one, 708-foot par 4. You've got some OB over on the left side that follows this tall grass/bush line. Get as much distance as you're comfortable with off of the tee before you have an OB carry for your second shot.
Our feature 335 card. First up on the box, please welcome from Minnesota, Cale Leiviska.
Pretty dry out here for what you might used to be seeing in Minnesota, so we might see some big skips on this big open area with the short grass.
Yeah, potentially. Although there are some kind of sandy spots where your disc will just dig right there or get a dead skip. As you noted, get as much as you're comfortable with here. Cale, as the local to the course, gotta imagine pretty comfortable going big.
Yeah, keeps it low. Does get a pretty big skip. Scoots kind of close to the OB, but going to be in a good spot. Probably 330, 350 left.
Everything on the right side safe. And we're playing with a little bit of a tailwind today, so no harm in getting lots of distance, but ensuring that at some point in its flight it's moving to the right. Good flat swing for Lizotte. We'll see what kind of ground play.
Yeah, pretty good ground play.
From Michigan, Cale Klein.
Saw Simon skip forward there. Got a good, probably 50 feet farther than Cale did or so.
Kyle's kind of been battling a recurring back injury, has had to drop out of a few events. And a little awkward on the tee pad there. And runs to the left, is going to take an out-of-bounds stroke at that
Georgia,
spot.
Alden Harris.
Yeah, I did hear Kyle speaking about that being pretty sore last weekend at Des Moines Challenge. So definitely still fighting that. It's a tough thing to do, wanting to play while you're out here. You don't really get to go home when you're not playing right. You're just kind of out here with everybody.
For sure, and a back injury, not really something you can either play through or just take it easy on. Alden Harris going to sling it way to the right. Still safe, just going to make his OB carry somewhere in the 400, 425 range.
Yeah, and actually still found some short grass over there. Doesn't have to run up in the long grass. This is looking pretty nice, and he's going to go ahead and pin it. Start out with a nice birdie.
Yep, fights through one of the guardian trees, and no easier birdie putt is going to exist, I don't think. Klein throwing his third, going to sling a hyzer. Fades it in nicely.
And kind of it seems like one of the easier birdie holes as far as hole ones go to start tour courses.
Yeah, I agree. There's just so much open space to work with, and then the OB not that bad on the second shot.
It's short enough where you're not really worried about not being able to carry it. You just have to miss these little branches on the other side. And it kind of played that way today. Our card's showing you why right now. Everybody inside circle one. 55% of the field able to card the... And Cale's new basket's saying maybe next time. Man, that looked like a pretty good putt.
Yeah, I agree. Weird reaction. They've only been in 4 days, so maybe they haven't been schooled up on how to catch quite right.
They got to meet their kick-out quota.
Klein with a good par save. Lizotte and Harris both going to card the easy birdies, off to a good start. And Nathan, I think if you're last year the winning score was somewhere in the 30-31 range, and with wind and weather predicted to be down, gotta imagine everyone needs those hot starts.
Yeah, a couple changes to the course to maybe make it tougher, but I believe it's going to be a similar score this year.
Hole 2, 318 feet as a par 3. There's a double mando off the tee, a little bit of other gaps late. But as long as you've made that double mando, there's not a whole lot else going on. Basket is elevated, slight drop off behind it. Lizotte with a good Anheuser release, playing with the stability late, and well inside C1.
Yeah, that's how you want to draw it up. Something stable enough to handle that Anheuser release and still just slightly finish at the end.
Yeah, going to be a touch of headwind today. Alden Harris follows Simon exactly.
Oh yeah, very similar line. Looks like he may have got a little skip up there. Let's take a look again. Yeah, faster disc, gonna get up there. Got a whisker tickler.
Leiviska, this is a little too left. Ooh, I take it back. Drifts nicely in front of the guardian trees and then swings back to the bullseye as well.
Definitely testing those trees on the left. Cale Klein looking to match his card mates here, get inside circle one. Gonna end up a little bit too right.
Forehand approach. And a pretty good recovery there. Gonna have about 15 feet for his par. But unfortunately is still out. That's wild.
Yeah, he's got 3 shots in a row now on the card. That's not something you see happen too often. Also not something you see happen too often. The rest of his cards just kind of leaving him behind there with these pars he's taken.
Yeah, very scoreable opportunity out here.
And we've got another scoreable hole here. Par 3, 408-foot third. There's some OB cart path on the left side that doesn't really come into play. You've got to shank it pretty badly to get over there. There's a drop-off through the wood line on the right side that can come into play a bit. Also, again, shouldn't come into play too often.
Lizotte kind of riding that wood line, starting to fade. crowd wants it to go in. He is going to trickle down the hill to about circle's edge, but is safe. Alden with a hyzer release. Flattens up for a moment, but also going to drift out to the left.
Yeah, it looks like he meant to have a little bit of anhyzer on that and have it drift right a bit. Just got a little too nose up on it.
There's a good correction from Leiviska. Looks like same kind of shot, just was able to pull it right earlier in the flight than Alden had.
Definitely so. I'm sure he's thrown this fairway quite a few times. Made it look pretty easy right there.
And another kind of arm-dominant release from Kyle. Looks like his hand is kind of grabbing toward his back there. Skip approach at circle's edge and up to about 15 feet.
See a lot of putts from this area down here. Fairly steep uphill for the rest of the terrain around here, and Alden Harris able to connect from 55 feet. The card a turkey, the first opportunity he got, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, gorgeous little nose up spin, catches left side chains and drops in. And you're correct. This is an old ball golf facility, so a lot of the elevation we see is because of tee boxes or other features that were kind of built up. Overall, we're more or less in Mississippi River floodplain.
Kyle stays on his little par stretch. Gonna be looking to get a birdie here pretty soon. Cale coming up to drop in his birdie. Not quite a drop in, but I'm sure he's moved hole 1 out of his mind by now. He's gonna hit these pretty dead center.
Hole 4, a par 4 at 746 feet. With this entire card preferring the righty backhand, I expect to see lots of high, turning, understable shots up to this cluster of about 3 trees. And then you have to navigate through a series of stacked gaps, pretty straight, to this basket that is tucked into the woods. Very difficult to find the optimal landing spot. If you're short or right, you really don't have an angle at all. Harris going to go with a roller.
And he has definitely gotten the distance on that one, stayed short of that long grass as well. He's going to be looking down that gap. Have to hit. There's a couple trees before the gap, creating 2 gaps for him now.
Cale going to go air shot, and as it's starting to flatten, still moving right a little bit.
Yeah, he's gotten far enough as well. We'll see what those trees out in the open leave him.
And Simon to position A. I like the way you could see him check off to the right to see the spot that he was looking at through the woods before he turned his attention back to the gap. Kyle, very inside, going to drop down.
And like you said, kind of hard to find that the correct position like Simon did on this hole. You really need about 430 feet to be far enough to attack the second gap Those trees where Simon landed are close to 500 feet off of the tee.
Cale pulling over his shot and inches from perfection. Tags a tree and boosts off to the left.
So Alden passed those trees, only had the second gap to hit, but not quite able to do so. A bit inside. Should be able to scramble from there, but from that position, a bit disappointing.
Kyle finding the same tree. He's going to have to lay up for a bogey. And although the gaps are pretty clean here, it's, wow, Simon running the bucket. Going to be backside of circle. Nicely done. Although the gaps are clean here, it's jungle ball off the fairway. Look at Simon here. Anheuser release, the slow fade out.
And this is a 746-foot hole, and he's able to just throw standstill backhand for his approach shot after over 500 feet at tee. Kyle Klein looks like he is going to get up and down for his par. Alden Harris may give this a long bid. Difficult to get long of this, so you can put something on it.
And Cale, little ambitious on the bid, never gets it right of the basket with the Anheuser. Simon for 3. Nicely done.
Yeah, one of just 23 birdies on the day today out of the 119 player field. So not too many birdies. Average barely under par at a 3.98.
I think a lot of that is attributable to the tee shot having to be in about a maybe 60-foot circle that's well over 400 feet from the tee pad to set up the second.
And one birdie, one bogey will lead us into brand new hole 5, 275-foot par 3. You got to just go to the left of that, or right of the tree we passed there, and then left of that tree we just passed on the right side. The righty backhand's going to be an understable disc that stands up about halfway through the flight, but doesn't turn over. It just stands up. Or play it to about 25 feet left with something a little more stable that's not going to stand up.
Harris, following that game plan, does run out to circle 2. And it's pretty cluttered off to the right where Simon pulled his shot. You see Cale trying to swoop a shot a little bit. Fights through into circle 2.
You see Kyle going to go with the forehand here. This is more of a quick left to flattening out.
About like that?
About like that. He does that nicely. Fades out enough to miss that big cedar over there that's off to the right. Pretty easy to get underneath that. But let's take a look at this again. Yeah, speed control perfect. Angle perfect. That's how you play a short little wooded hole.
Yeah, Nathan, I know you're from North Carolina. You play a lot of holes like this when you're back home. I really appreciate that there is a very clear side of the green. If you run short left to about 25 feet, you're going to have a putt. But if you're off of that, like, there's some directional specificity to the green.
Definitely so. As Alden Harris was able to stay just short enough to not have those branches in his way, he's able to connect from circle 2 out there.
Yeah, his second circle 2 make of the round. When he gets going, he's dangerous. Klein to card his first birdie, back to even.
Yeah, sometimes, unfortunately, you just need a bogey to get you going. He's able to at least bounce back from that. Hopefully, he'll be able to continue.
Hole 6, a tough place to continue, 695 feet, a par 4, no OB to speak of, but just a bunch of gaps. About 320, 350 to the ideal landing zone, and then the hole continues to turn right through another narrow alley of trees. If you're off of that, good luck finding your way back.
Yeah, two very difficult shots here, and if you mess one of them up, it pretty quickly turns into a bogey. So then if you mess the other one up, it can pretty quickly turn into a double bogey.
Harris kind of getting away with some nonsense through the right side, but he's going good, so his disc kicks back to the fairway. Klein with the forehand. This is also a good play, but has potential to run to the right late.
Yeah, if you do go forehand, you really want to push it and almost pretty much hit the trees long. Because if you don't carry 390 feet forward, then you are going to be pinched off if you move right at all.
Simon, mid-range hyzer flip, fading out a little bit, and
Great
favorable
tree.
bounce, yeah. And Cale very good at this shot. Too much hyzer today, however. Will get tangled in the left side.
Yeah, kind of looked a little swoopy like the last hole. A little too swoopy where he got the nose up and didn't get his angle right.
And a unicorn sighting. Cale Leiviska going forehand, and look at him make it work, Nathan.
Dang. That thing just jumped off of his hand. He's got some nice snap on there. He should be lined up with that second part of that fairway.
Klein hangs it out to the left. Probably another forehand coming. He's been going to the forehand quite a bit, perhaps because of the back. Harris forcing an M1 over.
He did it. Amanda.
Wow. I'm not sure what happened there, but he is very close to the basket now.
Yeah.
Perfect. You hear Simon say it. I totally agree.
Wow, what a bonus birdie.
Yeah, that's one of just 3% of the field that was parked.
That probably
say
means
that's-
it's like him and two others.
Yeah, 3, maybe 4 people. As you see Kyle with a pretty nice up and down there. So we have two birdie opportunities here on a hole that only saw 12 on the day.
And the other's not too shabby either. Relatively routine par putts upcoming. Harris, having gone long, continues his great work, moving to 5 under.
Oh yeah, only missed hole 4 so far. What a start. This did play as the hardest hole on the course today, 4.34. So a third of a stroke over par.
That's amazing, given that there's no OB making that happen. And I mean, in my opinion, it's totally fair.
Yeah, I think this is a great par 4. Difficult.
Mm-hmm. Cale gonna take his time and stabs it in. In the little celebration. Love it.
Introducing the F9, Prodigy's most understable fairway driver. The F9 is designed for beginners and lower arm speeds to get maximum distance, full flex flights, and effortless hyzer flips. The F9, coming soon to ProdigyDiscs.com.
Brings us into hole 7, another around 400 foot par 3. Slightly downhill, I believe. You've got some low branches hanging on the left side, making this gap a little bit smaller than it looks. But fairway drivers, pretty straight down this right side. You've got that mound back behind it to stop you if you keep it to the right, so not too much danger here.
Harris, pretty good shot. Again, never quite right of the basket, but able to putt. Simon hugging the right side, and if this will finish, he could be headed toward that mound.
Almost good.
And actually overshoots the mound a little bit. Finds a couple camera guys back there. And be pushing circle 1 edge.
Klein, too much stability late. I noticed that this was one of the swirlier winds on the course, Nathan.
Yeah, you're kind of out in the open to start, and then halfway through you hit a wood line where it kind of changes on you, and then there's a path that crosses this basket as well, perpendicular with it. So I think it's just got a lot of tunnels that it can go through, and it decides to go whichever way it can.
Cale coming up just short. This basket is elevated slightly over what standard would be, so he'll kick himself for that design decision later. Klein and buckets from circle 2.
Man, what a putt. Doesn't need as many anymore, but we'll take a look at that again from circle 2. Center on it, had plenty of pace to it, and he's under par first time for the round.
Yeah, good battle by Kyle. Harris kind of in a little tunnel of trees as well. Center pole.
Yeah, just high enough over that slight elevation. Hole 4's pin is a little bit lower than you see on average, so I guess this one's making up for that one.
And Lizotte cannot convert on his birdie look.
Couple birdies, couple pars here. This hole did average at a 2.49, 55% of the field carding a birdie.
Good Lord, that's at 390 feet. Hole 8, 1-1, 1-1, par 5. An initial water carry. Make sure you get it to the right side. Any OBT shot goes to a drop zone where 5 is all but out of the question. Pretty generous second landing zone, but then need to go up this hill onto the beautifully mulched green.
Yeah, tee shot very important to get in bounds because, as you said, that drop zone, unless you're one of the elite distance throwers, you're not going to save your par.
Harris making the correct mistake, finds center mass of that landing zone. I think it's okay to not get full distance on this shot since the second one is the more favorable landing zone. Klein, this is running to the left.
Oh.
And making the spotter work for it, unfortunately, has to give a red flag.
Simon putting a pretty good move on this one. Is starting to hyzer back quickly.
Does earn a green.
Man, that's pushing it. He's
Yeah.
very close to that OB line.
And Cale also slinging a hyzer, kind of pointing it at the wood line and finding middle of the fairway.
So you see all 4 players over here on the right side. The left side of this little pond or pond, river, lake type thing that we've got going on right here is all OB this year. A couple years ago, it was in bounds, and I remember my entire card, or the other 3 players on the card, all played left side with their righty backhands, and I just played my own hole over here on the right side by myself.
Being a lonely boy.
Met the card up by the basket about 20 minutes after the tee shot.
Cale kind of cuts the corner, but makes good progress. Harris. Flat release, understable disc, getting the right drift. And you'll notice that they're all kind of tracking towards this left side. There is some kind of high thistle and grass over there, but that is the most open approach. You can be a little more aggressive and try to take a skinny line, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah, that tree that Simon's heading toward right now, he's going to hyzer well before it. but that tree over there on the right side can pinch you up pretty nicely if you get behind it or underneath some of the branches. Make it difficult to access this very sloped green how you would like to.
And Klein going forehand again. This from about 350 or so. Cale's going to go fairway driver, flat swing. This needs to stay right of the basket, otherwise the angle is going to be a tough match.
Yeah, and he's able to have enough pace on it. It hit the hill and sat pretty nicely without jumping down to the left. Alden also going to try to have this flatten out before it gets there, and you can't draw it up much better than that. On a roll, Alden Harris going to be 7 down through 8.
Yeah, brewing one up. Stally little forehand for Cale.
That's not the angle I like to see on this type of hillside, but it does sit up there for him.
And Simon burning one into the backslope. I think he may have had a notion at an eagle throw in there, knowing that he couldn't scream past it too badly.
See maybe a little bit of wind increase here up on the 8th green. Cale Leiviska able to card his 3rd birdie of the round.
Yeah, the wind was kind of a thrower's wind. Not more than 10 miles an hour sustained, perhaps a little bit gusty, but there were some certain spots where it didn't feel that throwable.
And Simon now in, moving himself to 5 under on the round. Kyle struggling a bit on the hole. Gonna end up carding a 7. Move him back to 1 over par. But Alden Harris now with 4 birdies in a row. 7 under. Brings us into hole 9. Some more OB water to carry on this one. 406 foot par 3. Get over this tall grass to be inbounds. A little bit of a right to left tailwind. Might even see fairways or mid-ranges on this one with the tailwind in play.
And Harris makes the crowd a little bit excited. Just going to track out to circle's edge left, maybe a touch inside of that. Nathan, you say fairways or mids, and I agree that it's possible. I think it's also an unforgivable mistake to come up short on this hole.
Definitely so. I just say mids because these guys just continue to blow my mind with how far they throw.
Sure, and when I say come up short, Simon threw a great shot there. That's not short to me. What is short is not clearing the pond.
Yes, which would lead you to a drop zone that is not favorable to save a par.
Everybody Cale giving more width over to the right side. He's going to track into the woodline backside. That is puttable sometimes. You don't quite know. And Kyle with a little bit of a flip up. He's going to be tracking over there towards Simon and Alden land.
You want to hear something that's kind of cool, but also kind of frustrating?
Yeah.
71% of the field birdied this 406-foot water carry today.
I guess there's not a whole lot in the way, and we know how to throw stable drivers. Kyle splashing out left side. I don't know where that went.
Man, went right through it, it looked like. Went right through it. And our card not contributing a whole lot to that 71% at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to have one final chance for redemption after Cale's par putt. And he is able to stick it left side and low. That's kind of the traditional Cale spot, even after he has changed his putt. Harris with a wind check. A little bit difficult to manage this crosswind with a righty hyzer style. He is a spinny guy though. And closes out the front 9, 8 down. Solo first place at this time.
Yeah, what a start. Only missed hole 4, one of the harder holes on the front 9.
There you see it, a first, a 13th, a 40th. Kyle with a little bit of work to do to get back under par. Back 9 very scoreable, Nathan. A lot more great action out here for our feature card. But you see that. Alden out in front, a couple of 7s, some 6s in the mix. Everybody came to play today.
Yeah, as we've come to expect out here on the Disc Golf Pro Tour, very tight scores. I'm sure we'll see that on the back 9 as well. As you said, lots of birdie opportunities. Make sure you guys tune in to Gatekeeper Media for that back 9 and coverage of the second and third and final round out here at the Preserve Championship. For Andrew Fish, I'm Nathan Queen, and we'll see you guys out there.